Looking at the lovely blue sky and the lovely sunshine, you would think that we're in the middle of summer, but no. It's the 27th of October 2024, and we've had such a lot of strange weather. One day it'll be tipping it down with rain, the next day the sun will be shining, and so the British weather goes. I haven't been too well lately. I picked up a chest infection, but after about a week, I'm back to normal again. So here we go. It's time I did some useful projects. So I've got Josh here with me, and I'm going to get him to hold the camera while I talk about some of the projects. At this time of the year, at the end of October, when autumn is well on its way, look at all the leaves are falling. Many of them have shed. It is quite safe to lift trees, and you can also do some pruning too. So we're going to look at some of the field-grown juniper squamata. We've got so many trees which are in pots, but there are still some trees in the ground. Some are in pots, and we'll pull out one or two to do some projects. I haven't done projects for a while, and it's time we did some. So here we go. We'll go to the area where there are some trees lying around. So we'll take you into the field area while we walk. I'm looking at all the seeds that are lying on the trees, and soon we will be plucking the seeds to save them for going on. So let's walk into our growing fields. Look at all these large trees. They're all destined to be worked on at some stage. Look at the size of that juniper. I've grown this here for 30 years from a small plant, and it's time to tackle this. So we're going to have fun with this. I don't think I can manage this. I think it's going to be a Kevin job. Look at it. It's going to be spectacular. So we will look through that, and we will go through another area, through the jungle. Look at all these lovely larches, all crying out to be worked on. These are the sort of size of trees I like working on. So many useful things. Look at this tree. This tree could be a big bonsai, or you could just use this part and have a tree this high. Still looks very nice. So many possibilities. So I'm going to take you to the area where there are some juniper squamata that have been growing for the last 37 or 38 years. And here they are. You may need to go to the other side where you can get a better view against the sun. So these are the large squamatas. Look at them, look at them. All these long shoots have been produced in 1 year. And if you just leave them to grow, they become unmanageable. So let me just show you what I need to do with some of these. So when we get a situation like this, I've always been a bit stingy and keep them for air layering, but I can't keep air layering them forever. So we will just get rid of a lot of these branches, because while they're growing, you need to prune them back to get bud back. Otherwise they get too long. So these are the long shoots you have to cut. Look at this long shoot there. That's much too long. It's not useful at all. That's too long. And this tree actually is leaning on the side. So while the tree is lying on its side, you can get a very good view as to what it's doing. It's got a lovely line here. There's a double branch there, which is a bit odd. This is quite nice. This, if I bend, it might become unusable. This odd branch is going something funny, going this way and that way. So that's not much use. So let me see. Okay, this branch is going back on itself. That's not much use. You see why I'm always reluctant to cut it, because there's so much potential for air layering. But as I say, I could be air layering till the cows come home. I'll never see the end of the project. Look at that. This is also probably 1 or 2 years growth. 1 or 2 years growth of squamata. Incredible. Okay, if we just rationalize it by thinning it a bit, you will begin to see what we call, see the wood for the trees. There's another odd branch going there. When we make cuts like this, it's always frightening to think that you could be taking off a branch which is usable. So this is where there's some discretion needed in case you foreclose your options. And we look at that. That is very interesting there. This is a troublesome branch, but let's look at it in a minute. But you don't want to close the options. I'm not cutting everything. Look at these long branches. They're clearly not much use. And then if I wanted to make a tall tree, I could still do that. Okay, I'm now going to stand the tree up and you can then see what it's going to look like. So this is the line I want to emphasize. Look at that side branch coming this way. And although this branch is doing funny things like that, I can possibly use it. Oh God. Oopsie, this where it's already splitting. So you see what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to exploit this line of the tree. And I tried to bend that, but it's already split. So I don't know whether I can make much use of that. Probably cut that back. I'm just trying to rationalize the tree as much as I can without sacrificing any of the branches that have possible uses. And then the top I will show you in a minute, because the top is very, very interesting. Look at all these branches which are coming off. No wonder I cringe and cry when I have to do this, because there's so much potential that I can still utilize. If you come to the back, you can see, look at these long wispy branches. In fact, what I should do while it is growing, I should be coming out here and trimming them back. But I've got hundreds of these trees which have grown from young plants that I can never keep up with everything. What we call firewood. You can see what I'm cutting. I'll explain to you what I've seen in a minute, which is really potentially very interesting. They do bud back very easily. This is the beauty of the squamata. But it's a very rampant tree. So these trees have been here for more than 35 years, possibly more, because I've been here 39 years. So they've grown from 1-inch thick trees to about 4 to 6-inch diameter trunks. So the potential tree, as I can see it, is this side. If you go on that side, you will see it. But if you look at it from the top, can you see this interesting part here? This I think I could airlayer. This is where, although I say I don't airlayer, it's too good to waste. It's very seldom you get a clump style juniper, and I know that I can get roots in about 3 months. So I'm going to airlayer this from here to get a low trunk tree, and then I can still utilize that. So it's going to be airlaid from here only. This part. So we don't need all that long growth. We're going to cut this back. So this is going to be airlaid. So we get a separate tree from there. So this is the plan. So sometimes when it's too good to waste, why waste it? So that's all I'll do for now. So the future tree is going to utilize this bit, all sorts of interesting things going on here. So this is the tree here, this is the line, a curvy line. And then we're going to take the top and it's going to be a gin mud on that side. So in the next few months we will do work on this, even if it is to style the bottom part. Yeah. Okay, let's look at something else now because there's so many squamata here. Yeah, let's look at this. I know that it looks like a bit of a jungle, which it is. So all these long shoots I'm going to cut back. So this is what happens when you grow trees in the field. Look at it. 1 year's growth, 2 to 3 feet. You don't need it. Look at all that 2 foot, 3 foot long growth. We cut off.
Oh wow, this one's got.
Yeah, I put wire on it. You see the wires embedded in there, and it's caused the swelling. Look at the swelling on that. Look at the swelling. This is where Peter Chan's wire trick. People laugh at me, but you see that this is the sort of thing you get with collected trees. So that's going to be interesting. Everything is going to be interesting. But the main thing to emphasize here is that we have to keep heading this back to get bud back. So although I say I neglected it a bit, no harm done. No harm done. At least to strengthen the tree. We will show you what's going on. Every tree has potential here. Okay, some of these tall bits, I think we may not need. Look at the top of the tree as well. You see that the wire has gotten meshed here. Look at all that. You see how the wire has done its job. You see the bits of wire still embedded in the trunk, and it's made that swelling. So that's like a double trunk with all sorts of interesting driftwood. So potentially it's so interesting. So this is only roughly preparing the material. So you can see that. Look at that. That is the potential material we're going to work with. Or more manageable, get a lot of this rubbish off. This way. We're going to take these to the nursery and refine it a little more. So I'm just showing you the rough material that there is. So that is that one. So wherever you look, you will find. Don't worry about the grass. Look at the size of this one. It's about 5 to 6 inches in diameter. Like these great big sequoia trees. All sorts of thin material. You must be wondering, can you get bud back on this? Yes, you can. So I should call this harvesting really, because I'm harvesting the trees. So the trees that have grown for about 30 or more years. And it's time to harvest. Trying to emphasize that you should really come out and prune this throughout the summer. Okay, I've just seen another interesting tree back there. I reckon we've got about 50 or 60 of these squamatas. So this one here, let's look at this one. In the same flower pot, there is an oak seedling. And you see how fast this oak seedling has grown. It's just an oak seedling that the squirrels have left in there. This, by the way, is an air lily, believe it or not. I air laid a tree and put it there. So you see how easy it is to air lay. An air layering, a more manageable size for people who don't want to work with big trees. And this beautiful oak seedling, can you see, in the same pot? And I'm going to cut the top off. I'll just bring the saw. It's almost like collecting from the wild, except that the wild is Peter's growing fields. We don't collect. We don't collect from the wild. We grow our own stuff. So again, this is a very interesting, complicated tree. Lots of interest there. And I'm now going to look at this beautiful oak that I'm going to get from here. So this is about 8 or 10 foot tall, and I dare say it's no more than, I would say, 5 or 10 years old. So that will be another bonsai, that bottom part. So we're going to yank it out of the pot and separate it. And meanwhile, look at it. We've done nothing to that oak. Naturally bonsai'd. Oh, another little small one. See, we've got so many small ones. These were all air layerings. All air layerings. So we're going to have fun with these small ones. But meanwhile, I've got to head back these long shoots. Maybe a bit boring. So just the long shoots are going to cut back. And when we've done that, we'll show it to you again. Okay. So these trees are growing in the ground. So they will be lifted. They will be lifted next spring. So I'm showing you all these different processes because it should give you some idea as to what is involved, you know. And look at it, there's a bird's nest here, abandoned bird's nest. So we all have to be patient, sacrifice these branches once they've grown, and then we get back to the basics. So that massive tree, we'll cut it back to about here, and then we will assess it again. So this gives you some ideas to what is involved. Look at that. And there's a big oak tree in there, again in a flower pot, grown so big. So we would